Hey, my Legion, how y'all doing? And welcome to Wet Wednesdays. I'm at John's. I'm reviewing some from Monster Energy. It's ultraviolet. Not just used by the ultraviolence and the old in and out and steak and eggs and toast. As Tareen says, welcome to the 70s. A hazy purple funk, all dressed up in a kaleidoscope of bell bottoms, bandanas, and tie dye. A time when psychedelic glam and heavy metal rock blast from mega speakers at fairground stadiums and guards. I never heard any of that stuff played in any of those places because we were like some. They had some metal thing at that one fair, and the preacher was complaining to them because the music it says that brings around on to the fair.
Blue Oyster Cult played We Love Erie Days.
Well, yeah, that was different. That was cool.
Fits a type of...
Yeah, it fits that type of thing. But I mean, I think there's less prudes in Erie than there are.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, well, maybe. I mean, but I never heard any of that stuff played. Any of stuff. Kids would bring stuff like that to school and get in trouble. Can you dig it? Yeah, can you dig it? From the Warriors. Then take a good long pull of Monster Ultraviolet, crisp and refreshing with a sweet and tart pixie dust flavor, powered with our Monster Energy blend. Hop on this magic carpet for the ride of your life. Unleash Ultra Beast. But no, but they didn't. They didn't play a lot of metal back in the day. I mean, I never heard. Well, metal and stuff. I never heard like Black Sabbath and stuff like that till like the 80s.
AC/DC, I remember.
Well, AC/DC, they played AC/DC, yeah.
Elementary school, Chris Bademy had a cassette player. He's playing AC/DC.
Yeah. Oh man, I remember one time, the one guy had brought some stuff, and then like not Mr. Lehan, Mr. Snodcrest, yeah, and, Snyder. Yeah, he did a whole big lecture about the evils of heavy metal and stuff like that. Yeah, he was nuts. And I mean, that's what happened whenever
this is like something he would say. Those who eat the devil's corn will choke on his cob.
Oh yeah. Well, what was that thing you thought like that one church thing had like beer and backpacks, but it was fill the backpacks and not have beer and backpacks?
Yeah. I thought they were. It's like, I thought it was like fill your backpack with beer. I got excited.
I know.
It's like, I was disappointed. Boy, if you gave away free beer in church, I'd go.
Well, they had the whole thing backward masking.
Wine, but other people shared you.
Well, I remember.
Backwash.
Oh, yeah. Well, I remember Brian Coburn was saying like his dad made him burn all his cassettes and stuff like that back then.
My parents weren't that lame. Although my mom thinks she burned the Ouija board. It wasn't mine. It was someone else's.
My dad burned one of my comic books. He's like, I'll teach. He ripped it off page by page, and so whatever. And then he got all upset that I didn't gave in to him and stuff like that. I said, why? He wanted to do that stuff. That's on him, Well, anyways, I mean things were really weird. And then I wanted to make sure my mom didn't see that Phil Donahue thing about the PMRC saying like all these songs are horrible. I mean, we knew about the Darling Nikki song from there, but they had them on and they played clips from like Judas Priest, Eat Me Alive, and all this other stuff, saying they're like, not rape, but like obscene and stuff like that, and shouldn't be sold to kids. Then it said parental advisory, explicit lyrics. Now kids use it as kids now kids just listen to stuff on YouTube now. They just stream it. But back then, I mean, kids just use it as a say, hey man, they got cursing now. I want to get this. Parents don't care anymore. But anyways, this was $2 and I think $2 or $1.98. Let's try it out, see if it's any good. Okay, smells pretty good. Try it out.
Well, that definitely wasn't one of my farts then. I had onion rings for lunch.
Oh man,
I'm sneaking up the joint.
That's so good. Not the farts, but I mean the thing. Let's put a little bit. There's a coffee thing. Let's put a little bit. See what it looks like. That's a purple color. Really good. This has good flavor to it. Yeah. You gotta mix it a little bit with coffee grounds. They're still good. This is really good. I give this a 10 out of 10. It's like it's pretty much like a grape soda. Zero sugar. Some of the other stuff in there. There's some carbs, like 6 grams of carbs. So it's 10 calories. That's not bad, though. The macarb. So I hope you like this review. And also lecture about the way music used to be censored to kids because people want, people just don't want kids to, I don't know.
My parents know what I was listening to.
Yeah.
I got like Judas Priest or Maiden, Metallica. I was listening to that stuff.
Well, I mean, I listen to some stuff. I know Bruce Sokolowski would make like a couple of mixtapes for me, like some songs. Like, and then I remember you borrowing that "Stay Hungry" album from Twisted Sister. It had "Burning Hell" in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my mom. Well, you're not allowed to listen to AC/DC because my friend said there's an album called "If You Want Blood, You Got It," and he showed us how to stab himself with a guitar. You're not allowed to listen to them anymore. But I remember I still had a bunch of AC/DC. I had "Fly on the Wall." I had.
Of course, I always listen with headsets.
Well, I had my thing. It wasn't that loud, anyways. And then there was a big thing on that easy listening radio station. We never play Ozzy Osbourne, and they were playing the song "So Tired" off the Bark the Moon album. I said they're playing Ozzy Osbourne. Mom was like, "Who cares? Who cares?" I'm calling up the stage, standing in line. You will not do anything today. And then they took that commercial off. They took that commercial. I mean, she just, I don't know. I deal with people like that every day. So I hope you like this video.
What a bunch of bastards.
I know, people are a bunch of bastards. So I hope you like this review, buddy. And also ranting about the way music used to be censored, heavy metal used to be censored. I never heard any of that stuff. I remember the comic books, they used to have like these things you can buy patches and stuff, like keep on trucking and stuff. And they have like Black Sabbath. But I never heard any Black Sabbath until like 7th or 8th grade. Just one kid blocked some Black Sabbath in it, and that stuff was great. I know, like late bloomer. And then when I got in the Army, I started buying all these tapes, all the stuff I missed.
I was a later bloomer for some of the metal.
Well, yeah, for
like
me,
heavier stuff, but like I heard about Metallica from one kid. I forget his name now. His family came from California. He used to wear a Metallica jacket and I think a Dio jacket.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I found about Metallica, and I went and bought Ride the Lightning on record vinyl.
Yeah. I mean, I think I remember buying Megadeth. I didn't buy any Metallica for a while, but I remember buying Megadeth pre-sales with Who's Buying. I was allowed to buy that. Well, I was a big Devo fan, so I was allowed to buy Devo, and the mom said, "They're so weird, they're so strange," but I was allowed to buy them. Stuff I remember getting stuff from the Ramones. Oh, Bray Wyatt passed away. Rest in peace, Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt, one of the wrestlers, passed away.
Oh, right.
Yeah, rest in peace, Bray Wyatt. What else was there?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
And my introduction to like some of the real heavy stuff was like Night Rocks with Jim Cook. Remember he had Jet Rocks that was like a half-hour show after Elvira. Then he had like a whole nighttime thing called Night Rocks. And that was on for a few years. I remember I'd get up at 5 o'clock. We were supposed to get up at 6 or something like that. Make food and stuff for my dad. So my sister, I didn't know anything.
See, I can't remember how old.
Yeah.
I heard about Black Sabbath because I remember on the Late Grade Horror Show they were showing the movie Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
And he had a band play live that was supposed to be Black Sabbath.
Yes, I remember that. That was cool. That was my first introduction.
Like, that's not the real Black Sabbath.
Well, that was my first introduction to Black Sabbath. That stuff's cool. I remember they had like a couple of things. They had Trouble Run the Light, and they had Voracious Souls from Death Angel. And I remember getting the Ultraviolence album from Death Angel a while back. I mean, before going in the Army and loving that album. And then they had Frolic Through the Park, which, boy, that was a disappointment. Oh, and one other thing about AC/DC, whenever my sister was taking horseback riding lessons for like a couple of months, and I said, okay, we're going to spend $1 for your sister. You're allowed to get one album a month. I mean, you're allowed to get an album too. I remember getting the Mob Rules for Black Sabbath. I think that was my very first Black Sabbath. That was on 8-track. And then I remember getting AC/DC, and I wanted to get... For Those About to Rock, my mom looked at the back and said, I don't like the names of these songs. Like that. But I mean, I ended up getting anyways. But you didn't like Inject the Metal or Night of Long Nights and stuff like that. Great album, though. But that's about it. Ranting about heavy metal. I mean, the censorship of heavy metal back then. And the way things are now, and also, well, the Wet Wednesday, that's the main thing, and then also about that recipe spray white and all this other stuff. So it ended up being like a 10-minute Wet Wednesdays. One off topic, but that's okay. But they didn't play that much heavy metal, or like, a prime example. We had music, when we were in Fort Detrick, Maryland, we'd work, and they had music piped in from the radio. And then, I had one friend, Sergeant Scott. He called the radio because they had like a top 10 list. They played every song there. They never played Enter Sandman. And he said, you're supposed to be a top 10, top 20 radio. Why won't you play Enter Sandman? They won't play it because it's heavy metal. And that was a good question. Okay, so that's it for me and my buddy John, this extended Wet Wednesdays edition. I hope you like the video. Till next time, please take care, my Legion.